There are nice and thoughtful gifts, and then there are the over-the-top extravagant gifts that celebrities buy for their best friends. And it definitely leaves some of us wishing we were best friends with some of Hollywood's elite too. Birkin Bag. Getting a Birkin bag as a gift is already a luxurious experience. Or at least we're assuming it is. Most of us who aren't celebrities aren't just giving those things out or getting them as gifts, so we wouldn't really know. But at the very least, it's a great gift, especially when it comes from someone like Kylie Jenner. And in October of 2020, Jenner gifted one to Cardi B on her 28th birthday. The Kylie Cosmetics founder and the famed rapper collabed together on her and Megan Thee Stallion's song, WAP, and Kylie even attended her birthday bash in Las Vegas that year. Cardi thanked Jenner and shouted her out on her IG stories for the pricey bag that, according to People, usually runs between $40,000 and $500,000. Another Birkin bag. If you assume that someone else in the Kar-Jenner clan gifted yet another person with a Birkin bag, then you'd be absolutely correct. If you follow pretty much any of the Kar-Jenners on their social media, then you'll know that designer bags are kind of their thing. So it makes perfect sense that Kim Kardashian would generously gift the bag to one of her dearest friends, Lala Anthony. The two have been friends for years, and we'll say a Birkin is a pretty extravagant way to show your appreciation for someone.
Oh my god, the big Birko!
We've already established that these bags can have a 5-figure starting price, so we can only imagine what this one ran Kim. Stocks. While Hermès Birkin bags are great, stocks can be an extravagant gift in their own right. And this is probably what was going through Zendaya's head when she decided to go with this idea when filming Malcolm and Marie. Essentially, Zendaya and other creators of the film set up a financial structure that allowed the crew members to earn points, or shares of the film. That way, when the film sold, which it did to Netflix for reportedly $30 million, they'd make money off the film as well. According to Now This News, if 1 point equaled just 1% of the film's sale price, a crew member could bank $300,000. It's a structure Zendaya has talked about wanting to continue, and she's mentioned how important it is to take care of the people you work with and trust. And we can definitely get behind that. Dior shoes and other lavish gifts. It goes without saying that Northwest probably had everything she could ask for when she was born. When your parents are Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, that's kind of a given. But that doesn't mean that she still wasn't showered with gifts by other celebrities when Kim gave birth to her. And one of those celebs just happened to be Beyoncé herself. In 2013, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Blue Ivy paid a visit to see North and brought along a few lavish gifts with them. They bought her tiny baby Dior booties and a 3-piece sterling silver Elsa Peretti Padova baby set from Tiffany's. The baby set even came customized with North's initials because, well, it's Northwest, so of course it was. And if that sounds like a lot of money to drop on a new baby, that's because it is. Beyoncé and Jay-Z reportedly spent over $7,000 on gifts for North, but to Bay&J, that's probably pretty easy to come by. Tiffany diamond rings. In 2019, Ariana Grande gave us some of her best hits to date. Her album, Thank You Next, was released that year, and on it came 7 Rings, arguably one of the most iconic songs on the album. And the music video for it was just as great as the song was. Ariana is seen with her girls all dressed in pink, but they also all have something in common: matching diamond rings from Tiffany's. There's a line in the song where she talks about getting matching diamonds for her friends, and as it turns out, it wasn't just a song lyric. It actually happened. According to Ariana, after having a little too much champagne while at Tiffany's in NYC, she eventually bought all of her friends rings of their own. And thus, 7 Rings was born. Pinky diamond rings. At this point, we know the Kar-Jenners love to send an appreciation message with lavish gifts. And even though they may be known to give out a Birkin or two, their generosity knows no bounds when you're in their inner circle. Kylie's best friend and confidant, Stassi Karinikolaou, must know that pretty well, seeing as how Kylie bought her a gorgeous diamond ring. In a video on Stassi's IG story, she's seated with Kylie in a private booth at a Los Angeles Clippers game, thanking Kylie for the generous gift. Alexander McQueen jacket. If you're someone who spends a good amount of time on social media and YouTube, and if you're watching this video, we assume that you do, you're probably aware of Todrick Hall and Taylor Swift's friendship. The two met in 2016 and have been BFFs ever since. Taylor has been known to be a sweet person who loves giving her loved one gifts that feel personal. And in this case, an expensive jacket is just that. Todrick posted a video in 2019 where he talked about the thoughtful gift he got from Taylor and the story behind it. Todrick fell in love with a jacket he saw at Alexander McQueen, but decided not to spend the $8,000 on it and left it in the store. But for his birthday in April of that year, Taylor invited Todrick to her home, made him Cinesticks, wrote him a heartwarming letter, and gifted him with the exact Alexander McQueen jacket that he'd been wanting. Rolex Watches. When fans heard that Keeping Up with the Kardashians was coming to an end, they were shook. And why wouldn't they be? The show that introduced us to the Kar-Jenners had a 20-season run over the course of 15 years, and there were a lot of fans who felt that they'd grown up with the Kar-Jenners throughout that time. And those who worked on the show with them probably felt the same way. So when filming of the show finally wrapped in 2021, Kim thought it'd be nice to go out with a bang. So she bought every single crew member a Rolex watch, estimated to cost around $10,000 a piece. With a crew of 30 people, that's roughly $300,000 Kim dropped as a huge thank you to the crew for their hard work. G-Wagon. We've talked a lot on this channel about how much Cardi B likes to spend her millions on expensive things for herself, her daughter Culture, and her man Offset. But it shouldn't come as much of a surprise to anyone that Cardi likes to make sure her entire family is well taken care of. So in December of 2019, Cardi went all out for her little sister Hennessy's birthday, surprising her with a brand new Mercedes G-Wagon worth $200,000. That's some serious cash to spend on a single gift, but this is Cardi B we're talking about here. When it comes to her loved ones, you can believe that Cardi can foot pretty much any bill. Swarovski crystal-studded bathtub. Yeah, you heard that right. And yes, those are things that you can actually buy. Or at least Kelly Rowland did back in 2011. But when you're a famous musician and you hear that your best friend you grew up with, who happens to be Beyoncé, is having a baby, what else would you do? There are baby shower gifts. And then there's the Swarovski crystal-studded bathtub that Kelly bought that was estimated to cost $5,200. We already know that Blue was being born into a life of luxury, but this just takes it to an entirely different level. Chanel bike. If you've ever been a fan of 90s sitcoms, and honestly, even if you haven't been, then you've at least heard of the show Friends. It introduced us to stars like Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston, and it's surprisingly relevant even though the show ended 18 years ago. The show aired for an entire decade, and in that time, Courtney and Jennifer became pretty close. Years ago, it was reported that Jennifer told Courtney that she wanted to start bike riding to stay in shape. So Courtney took it upon herself to give Jennifer a new bike, aka a Chanel bike worth $12,000. We don't know if she actually used it, but who else can say that they got a $12,000 Chanel bike from Courtney Cox of all people? Mercedez Benz. Even if they're not exactly BFFs anymore, Kylie Jenner and Jordyn Woods were the best of friends once upon a time. A few years have passed since the whole Tristan Thompson-Jordyn Woods scandal, so there doesn't seem to be a grudge against Jordyn anymore from either of the Kar-Jenners, but she and Kylie still keep their distance. But that doesn't mean there weren't joyous and completely over-the-top gifts shared between them. For Jordyn's birthday in September of 2017, Kylie gifted her then BFF with a brand new Mercedes-Benz coupe. Chanel bag. We've focused on Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner, but when it comes down to it, every member of the Kar-Jenner family has a tendency to spend big when it comes to gifts for their loved ones. And in this case, we're talking about Kourtney Kardashian. The bride-to-be went out of her way to drop a few stacks on her longtime best friend, Sarah Howard, when she bought her a brand new Chanel small classic handbag, which retailed for $7,000. That may be multiple rent or mortgage payments for most of us, but for the Kar-Jenners, that may as well be like a typical Tuesday or something. Maseratis. Yes, that's Maseratis with an S, as in plural, because believe it or not, Adam Sandler bought more than one of them. Way back in 2010, Adam Sandler, along with Chris Rock, David Spade, Kevin James, and Rob Schneider, all starred in the hilarious film Grown Ups. And this movie did exceptionally well, making over $270 million. With the success of his film, Adam decided to graciously gift his co-stars with their very own Maserati, each estimated to be worth $200,000. The luxury cars were a thank you to his co-stars for contributing to the film's success. Horses. When most people think of Robert Downey Jr., they usually think of his portrayal as Tony Stark in the Marvel movie Iron Man and Avengers series. And seeing as how he's been starring in these films for years, it's easy to see why. But back in 2009, he starred alongside Jamie Foxx in the film The Soloist. And apparently, the two shared a close bond because when Jamie heard that Robert had a ranch in Malibu with stables that were empty, he gifted Robert with his 2 horses for his birthday. Being someone who's known for their generosity himself, Robert later gifted Jamie with his vintage El Camino. And yes, just in case you were wondering, it was the exact same one from the Iron Man films. At the end of the day, most of our favorite celebs can afford to buy literally anything they want. So it's always nice when we see them giving thoughtful gifts to their friends, family, and fans. But also, can't relate. Is there anything from this video that you'd buy your best friend if you could? Let us know in the comments below. And to see more videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe to The Things Celebrity.